free EA I found here when I was digging around, watching EAs one day on the YouTube. And this one's called Blessing. I think it's called Blessing 2, because Blessing 1 was blowing up accounts. This is Blessing 3, version 3, 9690. Now, this is free, so I think I could publish this one without going to jail. It's kind of fun to watch. I just found it. I just remembered I had it in here. I think last year I was playing around with these EAs, but I'm noticing that it's trading the way I would trade. It has a buy stop and a buy limit pending right now. I don't think it's filled. So this is the 1 hour chart. I'm playing it back at 31 speed, which is just under the threshold of it going into hyper mode where it really plays fast. Like if I put this to 32, it's just going to scream through the chart. Then I put my template on top. I don't know if I can see the code on this thing. I can't remember. Blessing. So this is if you're a religious trader, really. It probably helps. I'm going to say it probably helps right off the bat to have a Bible near you when you trade at all times, in case, all right, just in case. Let's see if something goes terribly wrong. Look at these accounts here. Bad Trader. This is Bad Trader and PayPal. I originally started off like this, but I blew up that account, so I said, well, I admitted I was a bad trader, then I went to PayPal. Let's see if I find the EA in here. I think the EA comes after indicators. Put too many indicators in here. Gotta clean this up. It's all cluttered. Oh, this has all the robots that I wrote. Great. Here's the Doji script I was telling somebody about. This Asia only. Here's a drop hedge. So I'm working on hedges now. So I'm moving away from the limit orders. I have a way to do the limit orders, but this is going to be the this week I'm going to be running on the demo. I have $14 in the demo now. It went from $9 to $14. I think I started with 10 grand. So let's see if I build it back up to 10 grand. That'd be a good goal for the demo trading. But in a way, demo trading is like playing chess against a robot. There's really no, you're probably going to lose, right? If you set the robot setting too high, so you're going to lose against trading against the market. Imagine the market's a robot that doesn't know you exist. How long can you hang, right? How long can you tread water? And maintain a position in the market of some degree to make some kind of money. And watching the robot trade is certainly... Now, he's going to get filled on this limit. I don't know, his sizing is the same on this. He's going to buy a 2K. And I'm just using the out-of-box... I don't think I changed the settings in here. So he's going to get filled. This is great. He's going to buy low. But he has a stop and a limit. This is the first robot I've seen that launches a limit. Maybe I can dig into the code. Let's see if that's editable. If I could edit this robot, then I think I could have a robot at least I can think about on the weekends, watching him trade and think, God, would I have taken that trade? And I think it's a great exercise for speculation. Oh, see, he didn't get filled. I would have bought at the market. See, now, I think you would have been forced to kind of buy at the market. And actually, my pending, I can already see where my pending would be as compared to his. If I structurally put a pending in here, I would have got filled there. So I'm actually going to... looking at this robot, and I'm saying, okay, maybe I can't trade with robots, and maybe I don't want to write my own EDA. Like, why? My buddy that I asked, the guy that works on the big mainframe computer, I said, hey, can you write me a robot? Because I got this great idea. And he said, he says, why would you want to build your own car? Like, just buy a car, man. And so that this is what you do here. You just take a free robot, dial it in. Now, if I could take this robot, and of course I can't test it here, but I could test the different settings and see, oh, it would have picked up that trade had I tightened up the criteria. And if I only run this robot, during that criteria, right? So if this robot's designed to trade a 20 pip window, he only comes online. Some kind of macro is going to call him up. Maybe a ATR trigger. This is probably more doable, right? If you have a mouse recorder out of Germany, I'll put the link of mouse recorder. And anybody's up to this task. Of course, you got to get a tablet, and you got to get a computer you're never going to touch and let those macros run. And he's going to come out and he's going to grab the robot that fits that particular true range. Somebody just emailed me again and asked me about what's this range thing about. Well, for instance, here I'm going to pick the range myself. I can't edit the thing while it's playing back, but I'm going to pick the range. Okay, if that's going to be here, it's 20 pips. So those black marks are 20 pips, and it's 100 pip with a thicker number. So you see how this thing ricocheted off the 100 pip range down here? Oh, I'm in drawing mode. So I can see the 20 pip grid, right? With 2 pips on the dotted line, 2 pip for the scalp, right? Look at the, now if you take a look at this thing from the standpoint of the window, right? This is the classic 100 pip tags. You come within 20 pips of the 100 pip yard line. So basically the feeding zone or the supply or demand zone is here. You have to keep coming back and replacing every day orders in this popular price, right? The same thing on the sell side. If you're trading limit strategy, wick to wick, presupposing you're going to wait this long to get paid, wait that long to get paid, wait to get paid, wait. Now, if you're scalping, you're already out of this trade probably right here. You put buy limits here and you're trading this fractal, right? So this is the same thing that's happening here. The same story. This is a bigger story. This is a longer story. This is a very short story on the way down. Very short story. Now, this structurally, this cluster, this doji becomes a top again. Right, but tops become bottoms. So structurally, you can see that your order being here is a price order. It has nothing to do with some fantastic. You can't draw a channel. Okay, that channel is not what's causing that price to be a pivot. It's just price. So that's just price. Now, if you compress this whole chart down, and I can't switch time frames, but I can compress it. It's just price, right? And whatever spin you want to put on what's going on there. Now, if you look at this standpoint, you're like, God, I love this entry this robot's got going on. He's going to get filled on that buy stop. He's going to get filled on that buy limit. He's going to put on a 2K. He's going to buy a 4K. Now, I can test this on the 15-minute chart. Now, if I have the settings for the 15-minute bot, you tweak out the 15-minute bot. You dial that in. You curve fit the 15-minute bot, right? Take this blessing. Take this blessing. Yeah, this is and it's Sunday. Right? It's a perfect fucking fit. So I'm publishing this on Sunday. This is going to be, and this will probably get me. I was just talking to a trader this morning saying that there was this little old lady that was trading, and apparently when she gave her money away, she made money. But when the big cigar smoking, big trader, big boy, big firm came in and had them trade her like she was like Rain Man at Vegas, she was she would blow up the accounts because she wasn't doing it for the right reason. So if you're trading to get that Ferrari, maybe you're not Ferrari material. Maybe you would have had a Ferrari by now. You know, where are you? How does your lifestyle fit into the realistic thing? But of course, if you have the robot churning away, now I could do this, right? I write a half-hour bot, and then come in, and you'd have to. Okay, that robot's only going to trade for X, right? He's only going to trade for this. That robot's just going to trade for this time window. One instrument. You're watching the true range. You know when to, hey, you know what? We have to change the time frame on this robot up one notch, right? So you're adjusting. It's like if you bought 10 robots to clean your floor in your house on the vacuum robots. I think they still have those. And probably got a Google app in there now, right? They're tracking your they're scanning your furniture to see what you bought lately, and then go to Amazon. You log into Amazon, and I don't know why Amazon says, "Do you want to buy this again?" Like, what? I'm addicted to this one object now. So, And if you have one click enabled on your fucking, I'm surprised there's not a warning from Amazon saying, if you have one click enabled, like how impatient are people to this point, right? If you'd have told somebody 30 years ago, hey, it sounds like an old person, you told somebody 30 years ago that you could buy something with one click and have the motherfucker delivered the same day, they would say, in what kind of sci-fi world would you be talking about? Well, it's only 30 years down the road. So the year 2001, living in space, right? That didn't quite happen, but we are living in space. We're living in cyberspace, right? We are living in that. Look at this fucking thing finally got filled. So it canceled the limit, which I would have done, right? Because to keep the equity low, keep your thing low, keep your exposure low. But yeah, it's definitely some crazy world, you could do this now. You can hire this isn't the best robot, but hey, look at, he's up on that trade. I don't know where his take profit is. Maybe it's just a percentage. I don't see a take profit, honestly. So I could intervene on top of them. Of course, I can't close all winnings. I can't run a script inside boy, was my heart broken when I opened Strategy Tester and I couldn't run my scripts, man. I just about died. I thought, can I just get a fake server that's spitting out, can I record the market? This is a geek question. Can I record my broker's data feed and play it back from this computer and make my other computer think it's coming in on a server as MT4 data? That'd be interesting if you could record the sequence, the data coming in, capture it, and not file it, but capture it in real time as a record, like an audio recording, play it back to the my computer so I can run all scripts at hyperspeed. Impatient man's dream is hyperspeed playback testing. I don't know where this target is for this thing. I don't know. This is my line. Did I draw that? Maybe that's the target. This has got a bunch of stuff on here. Next holiday period, because this thing's going to turn off and has protection mode and has equity protection, all that stuff. But I think you could, if you had the settings, maybe have 2 of these running on the 15 and 2 of them running on the half hour. You have about 10 robots. I always say 10. 1 hour robot. Because other than that, I can get to the platform within 4 hours to trade a structured trade. I don't think I need a robot to. I mean, I would want a robot to be on the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute. 2 robots running the 1, 2 on the 5. They will make money. Of course, if they're just trading one instrument and you've tuned it all in. It's like the old synthesizers where you had to wait for it to warm up. You could tune it in, but you had to wait for it to warm up. Otherwise, you'd be retuning it all day. And of course, the times that the robots come online, they're not going to, the 15-minute robot's going to be turned off during Asia maybe, right? He only comes online when the market is above a certain, here comes the U.S. Open. He comes online. So how much damage could he possibly do if he's only trading for, like even the worst trader in the world, how much damage can they do if they're only trading 2 hours a day? The Mark Douglas story is that this guy he made more money in a half hour in the morning than anybody could make on the planet, and after that he couldn't make any money because he was trading a certain style or a certain price pulse, and that price pulse is over. It's done. I mean, when the U.S. market opens and then here comes Europe and there's a big blast, and it's the middle. It's almost like that's it. That's it. You're done, right up in the structure. A big blast in the structure. That moves over. The only people hanging in that are the people that think it's going to ride for another 8 hours because you're fucked now. It's going to go sideways, right? 80% of the market's chopped. If 80% is consolidation, cause and effect, what is the cause for the effect? So this trap here, right, in a 100 pip trap, and then people have sell stops here, and their protections here. So there's people willing to risk this much on the breakout, but the longer this treads water, and of course all this water treading here, and all this how to destroy a trend bot in 3 easy moves, right? Then this giant hole you fall into, now that would have made up for, I mean, the ratio here is if your stop's here and you got in here, just like complete confirmation, textbook entry. But then you'd give it all back trying to do the same trade over here. Broke out. Where's the next move up? Oh, you've been trapped. Sorry. Oh, sorry, that didn't, oh, that breakout here. Oh, yeah. Oh, look, a breakout. Woo. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I'm getting chopped up. I keep moving my stop. I'm trailing on, trying to take profits on that. I mean, this trade comes, how often does this trade happen? Not very often, but that would be the one that everybody, oh yeah, made a ton of money on that. Gave it all back to here, trying to do that same trade. Well, I got strategy, you know. That's right, strategies are time dependent. If you don't change your strategy is so time dependent, it's incredible. Your setup is time dependent. If you can't trade wicks and all you do is trade tops become bottoms, you'd have to look for that top become a bottom on a time frame. So if your strategy, if you have monolithic strategies, you have to find places to plug them in, and it's going to be time frame dependent. But if you have a 4-hour wick entry with limits that have nothing to do with anything other than price, they don't have to do with setups. The setup's there. The setup's already formed. You're not waiting for a setup. Now you're waiting for a setup on a top bottom on a 15-minute chart when the market opens and you're like, oh, it's going up. Okay, oh, it looks like it really is going up. Pulls back, buy. Okay, tops become bottoms works all day long on the right time frame. There's no top become a bottom on some charts. You're just dealing pure price. Then you could say, let's just get in a stop entry. Let's just go. Let's go with it. I don't think this thing's still holding in. This trade hasn't got stopped. I think it has a percentage stop. I don't know. See anything running here as far as the, as far as the money management here. I just don't see any. So he got stopped out here where this could have got in again. This is the third time we've been. Can the market retest? Oh my God. And look at this big burst here. How they trapped everybody up here. So your sell banks are getting. Like your sell limits are making money right now. For you to pull the trigger on this, you have to wait for this to come back to this fair value right in the middle of the row here. Now you buy at the market. One at the market. You're short on all those guys that were in that zone up there. So you're buying, and maybe your next buy limit bank's going to be right here. Now you can trade around the robot. Buy limit banks here, right? I'm calling this trade. Buy limit banks in here. Scalps blended in here. That's a 2-pip grid. So you have 3-pip, 4-pip, 8-pip take profits commingled in with giant orders. So the question is, how can you make money along the way? Can you buy here and get out here with a stop here? You see if commingled in here, but you hand placed them, or you placed stuff that's built like that. Plus you have, it's going to buy here, it's going to buy here, it's going to buy here, it's going to buy here all day long. If you should get stopped out of this stuff, which is a high probability, once you dump it, once you slam into here, there's going to be some kind of, it could, but it's not likely to go shearing down, but it could. You have to do the math for that. It could go to here, but then it's going to fill these guys. And these guys will make up for all of these losses. How do you offset? Because the more orders you put in, the more exposure you have, they're getting stopped out. So there's got to be a balance point between over trading and under trading is the worst. Because now your money's not working at work for you. You're not making any money. Like you want to make money, right? The market's open. Can I make money? And that's a flaw there. I'm looking at the software. Somebody ought to rewrite that fucking thing there. I mean, you're mousing over it, and it's on as if it's still switched on. When you click it, when you double-click out, it should just go off. Why isn't it just going off? Okay, I guess the palettes. Now, look at this retest here. Holy shit, right? Look at this retest here. Now, you would have had to kind of been running a stripe, a 15-minute. Now, man, this is the 1-hour chart. So you have a 15-minute and a half-hour buy limit bank in here. You would have just cashed in on that. Are you willing to risk $100 for the next 15 minutes? That would be the question. before you press that button. Now, are you going to start selling up here on limits? Yeah. Now I can put limits up here for the drama that's going to come to here. There's going to be drama up here. You can cash in on the scalps up here. Painfully easy to see that. That would pay for if you fuck up the whole trade. You have to pay for your fuck ups. You can't just win every trade. You have to have that scalp strategy. You have to have like I said, I did this trade years ago. I wrote a script and I dropped it, and it was a perfect fit. I had a capture window of this, of 40 pips, a big fat end of the world stop, and my targets were here, and the market literally, and this is a 1 minute chart, and the news came out, and it went dipped in that bank and scalped out, and I was like, holy shit. And I mean, I could have wrote it here right now. This is the top become a bottom. On the clock, you would have, if you babysat that, you would have pulled the market, right? You see all the trades here. I have pendings to buy this. This is my backup plan. Should I get stopped out here? I'm running tight stops so that I can free up margin, get cashed out of that. It's already predetermined. I'm not thinking cut my losses short. It's built into the script. The whole idea of this is that it's completion backwards theory, right? This is backwards engineering, the tubes, right? Talk to me later, the tubes, right? Whatever. You have to think ahead of the market. You have to front run it, right? What do they call that? Now here you may be getting filled on sell limit scalps, but here it looks scary, like it's just going to rip north. The day is half of the day. And I think we could take out the high of the day maybe. Now here's where it gets like, well, you know what? If you bought in and you've already scalped to here, you're like, it's getting late in the day. Let me just get the hell out of here. So here comes the sellers, right? Because, it's just that first move was so beautiful. Now it's got to hit it or quit it. The more this thing loses momentum right now, the worse it's going to be for it to hit its target. And if you've already made all of this money trading the stupid range, but you're trading with big tickets, right? You're making 20 pips, 20 pips, 20 pips. Maybe you're trading back and forth here this whole time. Not to mention the last 2 days you've cleaned up. Just being a range goober, right? This range city. Even this is ranging. Look at these retracements coming down off this. Here's your top become a bottom in the 1 hour, right? Obvious, right? But look at the tightness of stops you can run. If you got the order ready in your hand, and you're in your hand, see the sellers came in there. I would have cashed out there. I'd put more buy. I would have all these pendings all day long here. I wouldn't cancel this strategy because we could still do a dippity-do or even get into my scalps that I've hand placed in there. So I have scalps built into the swing. Going to pay for the swing if it's wrong. Look at this. The guys that are short here, maybe they're thinking, well, I'm going to hold through here. I'm going to cut this way. And it's not like it hasn't happened. You can look at the history, play back any segment of, look at this rape. Look at this psychosis. This is a classic. This is from years ago. This is January 9th. This happens every time the news comes out. This trade happens. You get this bam, 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 right? Comes off of here, comes off of there. Like, gosh, maybe I should have put buy limits, sell limits here and buy limits there. Yeah, you could have done that. Maybe you should have. Well, I'm afraid to do that. Well, yeah, because you're not going to put standard lots on each ticket. Let's hope, right? But this is like, look at this stop hunt here. You got more buy limits here than you got here. So you martingale into this, right? You compress into that. You're going to get in heavy. In fact, down here, you've got 2 monster tickets that scalp to here, right? Because it's going to ricochet off the basement it falls into. Okay, now they came back in. The buyers had another chance. This is another reason why you may think it's over, but you still got a chance to get in there. Look at that. Wouldn't you think if you thought he missed a move, just wait. It'll pull back. And in fact, if you're in a losing trade and you think it's the end of the world, just wait a little bit longer. The first trading book I read said, if you're in a losing trade, wait. And I'm like, I can't wait. I'm just in so much pain. I can't wait. But if you did wait, and I was in a losing trade in the Chicago Board trade in options on the bond market. I bought 3 options for like $60 a piece. They only had so much time left in them, but the bond market made a historical move, and they were worth like $2,500 a piece. But I sold them at $1,200 a piece because I was like, I'm just happy to be out of that trade. One more day, they were going for, it was like the unraveling of the bond market. I'd say it's about 2010, maybe. God, maybe 2000, maybe it was 2008. It was before Forex for me. Forex, I think at that time, was you had to be a standard lot trader and have like real money in your account, just like commodities. But I don't know. Now it's just, I don't even know if this robot made any money here. He was long. I don't know if he cashed out of that. Oh, I'm still in. I'm still in this trade. I can just barely see the ticket. I guess he is running a stop. Trend is up, he says. The robot says trend's up. Maybe his target is off the chart. I can't see it. Maybe it's way up there. Fuck, who knows? Anyways, that's the blessing indicator for all the, for all the people that's going to church today. I would have got out. If I was the blessing, it would have been a blessing to get out here at this psycho move. So and the day's not over. We could still take out the high of the day. In fact, we came back and got more fuel when we stop punted the poor guy that ran a trailing stop on this trade. He put a stop in here and he's gotten stopped out. Look at this nice hammer, inverted hammer, which ends up being a doji on the 2 hour. So you just fill in the blank there. So candlesticks are there's only 3 candlesticks in my opinion. There is a bull bear and there's a doji. Spinning top, all the same thing. These are hammers. This is a bearish, doji, bear. 2 hammers, right? Should be obvious. Doji, anytime you see a little bit of a baby move like this, Doji City, here's a perfect breakout entry. Bam. 1 hour, put 1 hour, 4 hour scripts in there too. 15 minutes, half hour stops. He just made money. Breakout hedge trading I just don't understand why people aren't talking about that stuff. Why don't they just say, well, you don't know where it's going, just bracket it. Okay, a little trapped on the downside, but look, I made my pips based on this. Your script's got to be written around here. If you write a script around this doji, it needs to have a 40 pip risk to make 40, 50 pips. Same thing here. If you're going to trade this breakout, which made money, this breakout made money, right? Look at it come back and retest again. Maybe it's consolidating here for a spill this way, or maybe tomorrow. Maybe this is the end. Maybe this is a trap this way and we're just going to keep going down. Maybe the big trend's down. So if you account for all possible situations and you have something that will trade breakouts, you have a stop, a market, and a limit order. And then you know how to get to your orders. Is it right now? Is there in this chart right now? I would buy one at the market. If I thought that I thought this was going up, I go, this is another chance to build my position to go north. And my stop would be appropriate, or my risk per hour is the same as a stop, because if your stops are too tight, then within a very short period of time, it'll stop you out. If you have a 300 pip stop, you're saying I'm putting in an exposure over time that I'm going to give this market not only 300 pips to move, but I'm going to give it 3 days to get there. Okay, that's a whole other mindset. I mean, just that alone to deal with can be agonizing for somebody that's trying to make money. You're really forcing things to happen. You have to, if this is the 1 hour chart and you realize that the market can move 40 pips per hour, are you going to risk 40 pips per hour to make 40 pips per hour? Break even trading on the 1 hour chart. Like, you have to imagine a day like that. There's 24 hours in the day. How many of those hours do you think the market's moving 40 pips? Is that a realistic target to make in 1 hour? Do you have realistic targets built on the time frame that you're trading? If you're looking for a breakout in the 15 and the market's going to move 15 pips, can you do that trade over and over again all day long? And if you can, just do that. Look at this thing screaming through, going for the high. Plus, it's already filling this. Now we've stacked up some vapor here, right? And the day's not over, so we could still blow out the top of this, right? You have to think about what's going to happen today. What's going to happen tonight? What's going to happen in the next 6 hours? Could you make money in the next 8 hours? Could you get in now? Is the market dead in the water? Should you put on a hedge and just see what happens? Should you pick a direction with a tight stop and just see what happens? I think if the market's going up like this, I'm not buying at this point. It's too late. I missed it. I'm looking at cash out, actually. I see it's got a buy stop here. It's going to add. Now, this robot's doing something I wouldn't think about doing. It's adding to the position. Maybe cashed out. Oh, look, it made money. Look at these blessings pulling it in here. But that's the kind of questions I'd be going with. And of course, these orders are deleting themselves. If this order bank lasted an hour, you put a limit crop in here, it lasted 1 hour, you could also do that. It's just more work, right? You're sitting here and you got your limit grids. Now, I wrote stuff that's written for 8 hours, and people have taken my stuff and blown up their accounts with it. And you got to know that's going to happen, right? So this goober that was hounding me, why haven't you written me a script? Why haven't you done this for me? And I was like, dude, I go, what are you running now? He goes, well, I'm running the scripts you sent me. Blame me. It's all about me. I tell people continually, well, first of all, I'm on a demo account. Second of all, I tell them continually, you're going to have to dial this into how much money you have in the account. And if it says 8 hours, I said, you have to build, what's your lifestyle? Are you really sitting here all day? Then trade at the market. Pull the trigger on this pullback into fair value. Right? You can discover how do you know you're in fair value? Go back you're on the 1 hour chart, look for where the market's been ranging and slice it right in the middle. What is the middle of the range you're in? This is like child's play, right? Find a range. Can you find where most of the trading's taking place? That's called a range. Now, this is on the daily chart. This probably looks like this is like two small candles, maybe 2 dojis on the daily. And then slice that in half. If the market ever comes back to the middle here, I would put on a hedge because you could ride it to the edge and dump. You can also see where the bottoms are, right? See the bottoms become bottoms. This is the pivot. The pivot's right in the middle of the range. Right on the clock, you're buying at the market, inverted hammer, tight stop, buy at the market, small range of 20 pips, buy big. Buy big for that move. In fact, buy bigger here when it goes into small range. There's only 3 things the market's doing. It's going sideways, up, or down, or the market's closed. Sideways, up, or down. There's no another thing. So here, look at this. This is where the breakout bot's going to make money right there. But you're long on structure. Maybe you're adding one more thing. Top becomes a bottom. There is no, the true range bot comes in here. The trend trader comes in here. The limit trader buys here. Here comes the trend trader. Now it's over. The limits are getting filled. Walk back, drift down, stop. Stops are stacking up here. A little fill. More limits filled. Back to the bottom of the range. You're trading this just only. You're making money while some guy has a buy stop here waiting to get filled. He gets filled. He gets trapped, but his stop's here. He risks more than you. He's going to make more than you. All these people coexisting. Sell stops are stacking up. I got a strategy for that. It's called the trailing sell stop on small range bars with a tight stop with a scalp. It's a scalp. It has a couple greedy tickets in there, but it has a scalp. And the greedy tickets would be stopped out maybe when it comes back here. But if you're going to trade bigger when the market's quieter, right? So you're really in big here for a little percentage-wise. Of course, now the spread's against you. But look at the sell side of that. They might have trapped me here, but look at this. Back into my limits again. So stops into limits, limits into stops. Always in the market concept. You kill the fear of missing out. How to get rid of the fear of missing out? Have 1K always riding in the market with a 300 pip stop. Okay, you're risking $30. You might be down $5. Now, that's an exercise. That's a pain exercise. Now look at this come back to the top bottom. See? Now, you would have been filled on your sell limits up here in no man's land. Look at the robot went long like a fucking idiot. Right? And so you could do all sorts. You could use the 50%, the Fibonacci, all that bullshit. Right? You got that. All Fibonacci is doing is keeping you from placing an order on every 10 pip handle. But, this might be some extension up here of a sell limit here. You come, that the buyers are going to come back in here. So this is your exit. And maybe you're out already because you're scalping against this trend now. You have to believe, right? Unless we engulf the whole day and go full auction the other way and just crush everybody, which could happen too. But I think the day's over. This is the end of that day, and I'm making all my templates. I'm putting in white period separators here so you can see where Asia is. You can see the Asian breakout trade, right? This is the stupid trade. Then it pauses. Then here comes London or whatever. There's U.S., London, U.S., London. The drama is here in the middle between the goalposts in time, right? So time's ticking away, just like that's what when this market comes rocketing down like this. If you're putting trailing buy stops, all the money management bots, you're going to see they're going to be triggered, pulled back to fair value. Now this is supposed to become the pivot, and it just blows through it. So it's going to hem and haw in here. And it's going to blow up. Most people's trend bots are going to just be destroyed in here. Unless they're trend bots living on this one period, if you have a 2-period moving average, 1 hour trend bot, he just paid his bill. Problem is that same trend bot's going to try to trade this shit. It's just going to he's going to get brutalized in here. He'll be a genius here because this is a smooth run. This guy I was talking to last year, he's like, yeah, you get a clean break like that. Yeah, but you don't always get a clean break. So you can't write for it. You can write for, you can't write for that clean break. You can write for it. If you're a manual trader or semi-manual with scripts, you can see it, right? A robot's not going to see that. This robot can't. This robot's actually trapped on this long up here. And maybe that was to take profit, that yellow line. Yeah, that was, because I didn't draw that. Yeah, the robots take over, start talking to each other. I think this is to profit up here. I don't see. I don't know. So the thing is, I could have saved a bad template too. You ever save indicators on your template? That's pretty funny. I saved a template first time, and it had all this stuff on it. Actually saved all the objects that were still floating on there as a template. So I put it on a chart way later. I'm on a different currency like the yen, which is a different value. And I see this thing show up on there. This thing is locked into the price. At a particular price is frozen, and there's some trend line I drew. So that's pretty funny. So here's the logical place to buy, but they may engulf this whole thing. There is no now. You're only going to if you're short from this point here, you're already up on that trade, and if you were long into the shorts, then you've built a winning hedge as opposed to a losing hedge that you unravel and blows up the account. But now maybe you have a buy limit here, down at this top, or just down here because this is the new fair value is now, if this thing's made it to here, the new fair value is here now. So the fair value moves up with the market, and that's why people use moving averages. Like, oh, look, it's coming back to moving average, buy, okay. But it's how much do you risk on that trade? So does all that stuff work? Yeah, it does work in a one-shot situation. Does that gun work? Yeah. It's like cameras work. If you're right there when that one event happens and you happen to capture it. Other than that, the camera's just sitting there. You still have to pick it up. You still have to aim it and shoot it. So my buddy that used to have high-end Linhof cameras, these Linhofs, big 8x10 negatives. The guy spent like 10 grand on this camera, and he would complain that, well, I have a day job. When I get off work, all the good lighting's gone, and on the weekends it's raining, and I'm like, well, dude, come on, you got a day job. I mean, you could take amazing pictures. He took some amazing pictures, but he had an excuse. So everybody has this excuse. Well, I can't do that because of that and like that. Because it's when you talk to people like that about trading, forget about it. You just want to blow your brains out, right? Well, I could, but I'm like, well, then you're not enthusiastic. Certainly trading's going to take more than just money. It's going to take financial punishment that you have to detach yourself from money to make money. So it's kind of this paradox. So how do you make money? How do you make money is you can't care about money. So that's the biggest obstacle in the world. It would be, I'm just trading because, well, I can see what the market, like you're trading as if you're on a demo account. It's the ultimate goal. So why not trade a demo account? Well, I wouldn't waste my time with I want to make money, damn it. So I would have bought, here comes the ATR bots getting in on this. So the person asked me, well, what do you mean by the range? I mean the last bar. So buy stop here, and I would limit my buy stops. Not to say that a buy stop here, if you, in hindsight, said, well, every time I put a buy stop here in an uptrend, I made money too. Yes, but you could have loaded the wagon heavier here on that pullback, and now you'd be cashing out of something here based on the fact that you got in here tight. You're already long, though. Imagine you're already long. And it's also your money management bot would see, low ATR, danger, we could be done. The trend could, so how do you know when the trend's gone? So the person emailed me, said, well, the market pauses. Well, you know what? It's kind of obvious, I think. On closing prices here, you didn't get, this was the ultimate exit, was the trap. If you waited for the close of the bar and got out, you left some money on the table, right? That's typically plus if you waited to get in here, you left some, like if you didn't buy here and you bought it on close, you didn't leave money on the table, but you exposed yourself to more loss because you missed the entry. So you're either missing out or you're leaving money on the table. Unless you're so dynamic of a trader that I got to get out here. Boom. You're babysitting it. Got to get in here. But really, what if you blended your strategies? You bought it. You traded the stops, right? Low ATR, put in a buy stop, sell stop strategy. That made money all the way down. None of the buy stops got filled. Only the sell stops got filled if you set them the correct distance. On that one script, I'd run like 3 scripts on that. Push the button every hour. It's coming into here. You can see what's going to happen. All the story in the book. It's going to come back. Now here, people are thinking the same thing's going to happen again. It does not happen. Now things get super quiet, and in the 4-hour charts and the 8-hour charts and the 12-hour charts are showing huge range break opportunity. Buy stop, sell stop. Buy stops and sell stops are stacking up. Vroom. Right? Now maybe you're adding on pullbacks. The trend has changed for you. You can see in the big picture. The weeklies, you're at the bottom. This is the bottom of a weekly. So you're doing, you can see the accumulation on the dailies through the 1 hour, and you can see the weekly. Of course, you don't have to really see the weekly in your mind's eye. All you have to do is a weekly chart. If you can't memorize the weekly chart, it's not going to change much, so you don't have to worry about rememorizing it. I'm just talking to myself because I hate memorizing shit, because I have this philosophy that there's only so much room in your head. And if you learn too much stuff, like not learn too much, concepts seem to fit good. But if you have too many labels and too many names and all this shit, and you're like, holy fuck, don't tell me anymore, man. I have to delete a file to make room. Like you got a hard drive in your head. But apparently it seems to be a bottomless pit, because I'm coming up with shit from 1970 now. I'm like finally getting those flashbacks, even though I didn't do acid in the 70s because I don't want to lose my mind. But I'm starting to get these memories, and they come through, like smell is probably the biggest sense to bring in a memory. And just the so I was out in nature the other day. It reminded me of when I was a kid, and I thought, God, remember when things were just so like you had enthusiasm for the dumbest shit in the world. And so my buddy, the photographer, that was complaining that, he couldn't get a good sunny day to shoot. He said he was depressed at the age of we were like 18, and he's starting to get depression. He had midlife crisis at 18, and he's like saying shit like, the colors aren't as bright as it used to be. And I'm like, well, that's why people are doing LSD, brighten up the colors. And there's this kind of like, well, that I've eaten all that candy. Is there any new candy on the market? And so I guess it becomes after the Industrial Revolution, let's face it, people just started to get sick because they're so wealthy. They didn't have to hunt. I mean, you see these people that are in these countries, that they're third world country, where these people are literally living in the woods. They're ripped. They look like they've been at the gym. They're walking, and they have no shame in their game. They're walking around half nude, and they're ripped. What the fuck? Every time I go out, the welfare state that I live in, I go out, and people are like, holy fuck, you're in a hovercraft. You had to get a hovercraft in the grocery store? What the fuck? Are you serious? I mean, somebody should chase you with a gun, get you to exercise. You're just going to die. I mean, comfort food they call it comfort food for a reason. Or comfort libations like beer, whatever your vice is. They say vice. When I was a kid, I heard the word vice, and I thought, you mean like a vice grip, like a real vice, like I put your head in a vice and I keep cranking it. And they said, well, those drugs are a vice. And I thought, no, a vice is a vice. But apparently, it's either so habitual that it's like a clamp. They should call it, oh, you got a bad clamp. Yeah, you have to keep up with the latest memes, right? It's not a vice anymore, dude. It's a clamp. The dude's held up, though. I think, I don't know if it was who started the word dude, but I like John Wayne movies, actually. I should watch a John Wayne movie this afternoon and talk. John Wayne Forex trader, right? That'd be funny, like John Wayne trades. It's funny to do impersonations of people and then be trading. I still have to get my wave file set up so my one-click trading has my scripts have a sound associated with each script. But that's my dream, is to have a platform that talks to me. Like, if I get stopped out of something, it says, loser, mother loser. By the end of the day, it's saying stuff like, total fucking loser. Every time it stops out, some kind of money management robot that speaks, because I know they have this talk in your phone and ask this. I see people now, like I'll ask them a question and they'll ask their phone a question, and I'm like, are you just going to phone this one? Like, you're going to opt out of life? You're just going to phone this? Hey, you know what? Stretch your brain a little bit and try to make a mistake. Like, so it's a mistake-free world now. You can go on the auto completion. You don't have to spell anymore. Google's going, I think you mean, yeah, I do mean that. I don't know, I guess I spend too much time on the internet, but maybe I'm not alone. I mean, so the problem is I meet young people that are on the internet, but they know how to work the internet, but they've never seen the un-internet. So they don't know. Whereas I think I could almost keep up with the latest rewrite of a piece of shit platform like Windows or Facebook, where they keep rewriting the fucking goddamn the way the thing behaves. I still can't set Facebook to recent posts. No, they say most popular. I said, what can't it? No, because. And if I reset it 8 times a day, it'll hold it for like 3 days. That's algorithms written. So I know with the robot, it's like if I trade against the market long enough, I'll finally make money. If I trade against the trend. But, it's just, so here you are on the YouTube. So all that technology gives you the chance to digitally bitch on the internet. Normally I just had to bitch to myself. Or people used to, I guess, write letters and mail them and lick stamps and stuff. You can't even lick a stamp anymore. If I licked a stamp, I think I would remind me of when I was a kid. So all those smells and tastes, especially old gear. If you open up like smell has the highest amount of touch points of any sense to your brain. So if you have an old gun and you open it up and smell that, that is so dialed in. It's not like the color spectrum is bullshit compared to that. I mean, that's just super tight niche trigger points. Worse than calling somebody a name. There's just only so many words. But of course, people have to see that. That's another progression that the dialect gets deeper because, and then you have texting. Now you have LOL, laugh out loud, and so you're having higher resolution there. That's actually the fractalization, of the language. And then some people say, well, that's not really you're not really speaking. The same thing happened in the art world. There used to be artwork that looked like photographs because we didn't have cameras. Now art can be like somebody threw up on the canvas and it's like, oh, there you go. And that goes for like $10 million because the guy that did that is so, what do they call it? So eccentric that people just like, oh yeah, well this guy, come on, it's this guy's work. I mean, like Andy Warhol, is that really artwork? So you go to Andy Warhol and you're like, all you're doing is wallpapering shit. Well, that's artwork. So now you're to the point where, of course, music I'd buy here at the market or buying stops here. At the end of the day, coming into Asia, it's kind of like the last, and hopefully they're not going to stop me out of this trade. Now, this is another thing is that, do you get in at close? I probably would liquidate the whole thing if my broker was going to expand their spreads on close here. And maybe this is penny for one more gust, but maybe only make it here, here, or here. Right? So you have 3 targets. Hopefully you've made enough money today that you could maybe have a little bit penny here, but you're probably just going to get out here, right? Where you got into the bad price. See how the robot got in here? Dumb entry, right? Not if you hold it for 3 weeks, man. Look, I'm winning. I told you it's going up, man. But anyways, it's interesting to see the world happening. Everything's happening all at once. So you have all this language now, and there's like the latest catchphrase, and I'm like, so that was another thing that was difficult to talk to young people. Speaking different language. What are you talking about? Oh, and then they're like, well, this is cool, and well, they don't know from. There's such a high tech world now. The music business they have taken recording to such an art form that they can literally put stuff on disc that probably would have blown up old speaker systems back in the day. Like you couldn't even play it. I remember when there was stuff called digital ready. Like you could, if you put a CD on an old nickel magnet with paper cone speakers back in the 70s, in the 60s, if you could have played digital music through your system, it would have blown it up. Because in the old days, you were relying on the fact that the needle couldn't put out that much dynamic range and that you didn't need to have digital ready speakers. Then you got these people that take their car. Now, where on the planet could you imagine that you could get more alternators in your car and put in high-end subwoofers or even low-end ones that rattle into a car and blow the windows out? So I was at a place that puts in these systems, and they said, oh, yeah, we'd blown up. The PT Cruiser blew out the windows. The guy brought it back. His windows are destroyed and tried to accuse it. And I think they make him sign a waiver. But how numb are you? Or how either numb or how much do you want to be fucked by the subwoofer to need something that pounding? Like how in need of stimulation are you, or how numb are you from the previous? It's never enough, right? So that's the American way. If a little bit's good, more is better, and too much is just enough. Okay. To max it out is considered to be almost, I guess people were maxing stuff out in the old days, Chuck Yeager, people were trying to break the sound barrier, right? It just seems that if you go back in the olden days, there wasn't much to pay attention to. Now you're onslaughted with, and you've had to be very filtering stuff out. So I just dumped another 2 friends off my Facebook because they didn't respond to me. So these are people in the real world that I know. And I'm just like, you know what? So when I break up with people now, people shouldn't take it personally. It's the fact that I just don't have the tolerance anymore for, I guess you just get intolerant and angry. No, you ask yourself, where is this going? Relationship going? This is I'm asking the chick question now. Always when I would have some girl I was with and you were the dating mode, she'd say, "Well, where's this relationship going?" I'm, "Well, not marriage. We're just gonna go home and fuck." Like, what? Like, I'm just trying to watch a movie with you and like, molest each other. Like, where's the relationship going? Like, you're thinking too far down the road. But now I'm saying, well, where's this relationship going? These people that, hey, you want to do this? Like, not really, because I'm not even on the same page. Like, I guess I'm just too, I just gave up, especially the band that I play in. That I don't play in anymore. There's really nothing that they could, everybody has the side gig now. Not only do they have their day job, but if they're not raising kids, they're, the 2 people I know don't have kids actually, but they're, the one guy's into building his own beer factory. See here, you're just holding into Asia here. So here comes a breakout trade. They have separate, they have their plates full. And so I thought, well, why should I, since they don't want to publish any of the music that we do, there's no desire to publish. So they call it pissing in the wind. When I heard that term, first time I heard the term pissing in the wind, I thought, well, that's an interesting, could I see that once? I don't think I have to see that. And the idea that you're not throwing water in the wind, that you're pissing in the wind, it's almost like it's a dangerous setup. It's something that's it's not good, right? If it's very windy, it's not good. It's one thing that gets hit by a super soaker squirt gun. I remember as a kid, I had a squirt gun. It was orange. I'll never forget. It was orange and it was translucent orange. And I thought, I can see how much water's in this thing. This is amazing. Like the other squirt gun I had, you couldn't see through it. It was an opaque squirt gun. That was punished. You had to kind of think, wow, this feels like it's getting lighter. And I noticed the squirt's dying out. And then along came of course, by this, my parents treated me like my parents are rich, but they refused to buy me any toys. So I watched my neighbors who weren't as rich, but they spoiled their kids. They had super soaker guns. I said, can I get a super soaker? No, get a job first. I'll tell you what, man, if you think growing up poor is bad, how about growing up with parents that are rich and cheap? But no, rich and frugal. They're the woes, right? So we're not buying you that. Get a job. Cut the lawn and you can buy your own super soaker gun. And then my other neighbor who his dad was like the richest guy in the became actually richer as time went on, right? The rich get richer. Bought his kid Porsches and stuff. The one kid died in head-on collision in the middle of the night in his Porsche, drunk. I go, there you go. So if he could have done that in his own car that he cut lawns for, but he probably wouldn't have, right? So could money kill you? Yeah, sex kills. Sex Kills by Joni Mitchell. But definitely that's... And then all these people trying to make money trading is just cracking me up. Like signing up for, ask the questions when you go through the comments in Akil Stokes' Empowered Trading's comments. It's just hysterical. Not hysterical, but it's sad. No, it's an education, to say the least. If you're a veteran trader or you've never traded, the quality of the question, that was the old Tony Robbins' big genius statement to me was, it's not the question, it's not the answer, it's the quality of the question. So the question, inside the question, That's the thing. You already answered your own question on some level there. So I was just talking to a trader, a veteran trader this morning that said, people ask questions and they say, hey, if you Google the first part of that question yet, like, that's just like you're wasting my time with this question. But I like all questions. I like all comments. And so I didn't get a chance to say anything this morning to this person, but when people say, oh, I think you're onto something there, that's almost a burden, right? So say I would never want to be one of these legendary traders, and that's another reason why I would never publish my winnings and losings, is because I never want people to go, oh, that guy's good. Then you have people begging you for money. Now you got all sorts of drama to deal with. That's why I never want to be famous, because I live in a fishbowl. Sorry. I would just as soon actually not participate in life, if at all possible. It just seems to be nothing but utter, the routines and chores of life are easy, but when you have to interact with other people out in the real world, actually people you don't know are easier to handle. Now, your family, who supposedly is honest with you, you're always having to, in the Asian style, when you have kids, you tell the kids, get the fuck out of here, right? I like the Asian. I moved to Asia. I could probably get along there very well with their customs, right? Very martial arts about the thing. So there's the martial arts approach to life, and then there's the clingy, abusive, codependent style of life. But that's the thing. But I guess what you figure that ultimate freedom, I think, is to be able to choose which style of life you're going to live. Your lifestyle is critical. Now, it doesn't mean that even a bad lifestyle. I had this friend that, she was pretty much out of her mind, but I almost thought I could get her to trade because she really didn't. I think she's too, I don't want to say dumb, but she's too girly to understand. She's too focused on whether her breasts were big enough to really worry about the market in a certain sense. Whereas the men that trade the market are kind of like, well, I'm a sniper, I'm a warrior, I'm a this, I'm a that, and self-concept is destiny. That's Nathaniel Brandon said that. Self-concept is destiny. I thought, man, that drills it in. That's the guy that was fucking Ayn Rand, the psychologist. Actually, Nathaniel Brandon, he does sentence stems in his book. He puts out a stem there, and you complete it, right? So how do you complete that stem? And that really is the ultimate. Like if somebody was going to teach somebody how to trade that had already been traded and already lost money, you have to actually detune somebody from bad trading, so to speak, if they've got a bunch of notions in their head. Now, somebody that's never traded actually could probably out-trade the person that has bad notions and they're confused because they've overanalyzed the market or something like that. But I'm fascinated by the person that has never been contaminated by, say, even religion. Like you're taking somebody that just landed on a planet and you want to show them a tour of planet Earth, right? Are you going to try to spin it good or bad for them? You don't have to spin it for them because they don't know what the fuck they're looking at. It's what the funny thing about the market is it exists outside of you, and whether you choose to participate in it or not, it's the only time you're going to be triggered and get into these thoughts of, oh, I'm in a loss, I should cut it out. I should cut my losses short. Well, what the fuck? That's relative. Compared, what's a loss? The moment you pulled the trigger, you're in a loss. Should you get out now? Cut your losses short. Well, that presupposes you've determined some length of defined a loss. I put that in a comment. See, your breakout trade's making money here. You thought it was going up, but look at Asia breakout, you're making money. What you perceive to be a loss. Well, you lost on 100 trades. Well, if they were small orders, it's not that bad. If you made 900 winning trades, today you lost 100. So last 4 days, you had 900 winning trades. Today, you have 100 losers. Did you cut your losses? I mean, that's so stupid. The other dumbass thing I've heard, I should have listed dumbass comments instead of miss. Cut your losses short, let your profits run. Oh, okay. Well, if I'm cutting my losses short, why am I letting because well, there's got to be a ratio there. That's going to be a math number. You don't let your profits run if the market if the market's telling you to sell and you're up on a buy, you have to cut your profits short because you know you're going to get stopped out now. So when you're in the market in a position, are you being a responsible person? In other words, are you responding to it? Are you a victim of your stop? Are you a victim of your trade plan? This is why backtesting is misguided. It makes you say, oh, hammers work. If you do it, I'll have to wait till I get stopped out. Yeah? When are you going to wake up and realize what's happening now in the market and what your strategy is so goofball crude that your backtested strategy is so fucking retarded based on a hammer? There's a guy the guy does great interviews with chat with traders, but he does a backtesting of a candlestick, a hammer on the daily. Are you kidding me? Well, look at it. Works out for 40 years it's worked. Are you fucking nuts? You gonna put good money into that? Well, I'm gonna let that play out. And he did. He had it. He's like, well, I got stopped out. I'm like, but you could see it coming. And if you're looking at the 1 hour chart, right? So you're up on that scalp right now, right? On that breakout, you have to take profits here because the buyers are coming in, right? Are you planning on this thing dropping 500 pips? Well, that's what my back test said. God, man. Yeah, you're making 5% a year. Look at you. Wow. That's considered successful trading. That's how low the bar's set in trading. That's what's so fucked about it. 90% of people lose. Who cares what the percentage is? Yeah, 90% of people lose at life. Life losers. But to be able to accept reality as it's unfolding in front of you. So maybe you took something off the table here. Maybe letting the rest ride here. Now it's time to think about putting buy limits in again. The drudgery of trading. Buy limits in here, I say. So back test this. Think on the spot. Do you really have to back test the breakout strategy? Well, let me see if that works. I like what you're saying. I'm going to try that. Huh? I only get that poor slob. I'm glad that guy's. I'm not going to try to help that guy anymore. People like that need to just be bitch slapped. People that are like, well, I won't trade demo, and I just don't want to. I don't want to rehearse. Oh my God, leave. I know these people say that now. We don't want to teach people that aren't going to listen to. Even, of course, you're signing up for people that already got their head up their ass, right? I mean, empowered trading is so fucking retarded that they don't even talk about. Maybe you have to buy the course because they say stuff like, you know what you're going to have to do here. Just like I say in my videos, you know what you're going to have to do here is you're going to have to do a bunch of hard work. You're going to have to put the orders in there. You're going to have to write. You're going to have to do 100. You need 100 tickets to make $300 on that trade. You need 100 tickets running to spread your risk. You could do it. I could do that trade with 100 tickets to make $300. Guaranteed. I've got 20 stop entries. I got 20. I see the ATR. I'm really big. I'm in what? I'm in a standard lot. I just made $300 there. $200 I just made. Standard lot. I got in earlier here. I built a position here, right? It looks like this. Who can't see this, right? You got to think like building a position. Got sell limits were triggered here. I added on stops. All right, 50K here. 50K here. Bam. I'm out. Just made $250, right? In fact, from this one, I made quite a bit from this top tick. Top tick Tommy. Trendline break entry. It's all happening right here. So, this thing about, well, I'm waiting for a Gartley. I just think compare that concept to, I'm going to enter here. I got a 618. I'm going to enter here. Second entry. They don't even talk about second entries with those fuckers. So I'm going to get in here really big. My first target's here. Second target's there. They'll scale out, but not in. Well, if it's good enough for getting out, why isn't it good enough for getting in? It's a two-way street. Jesus. Look at how this thing called the trend right here. I'm going to give that fucking... It didn't take the trade, but give me some... Look at that. I'm going to high-five that trade. Yeah. My buy limits start here. Maybe I'm still short, right? If I have expanded targets on that. Oh, the discipline of holding that trade. Even the trailing robot hasn't gotten stopped out on that move. Coming into London Open, Asian breakout, I'm up. Coming into here, big buy limit strategy running. All right, dual strategies. Look at, they just kind of bottom tick that. Maybe cash out the whole bank now, go flat, leave yourself limits. Maybe you have a few trailing winners here. Now you're up $400. Maybe you scaled out a half. Maybe you're up $350 because you still got a little bit trailing. Market goes both directions. Surely there's got to be a Asian breakout strategy in your playbook. Look how much money it makes. Maybe you had one case sitting here on the Wix for the stop punt. Go figure, right? Another stop punt. Engulf maybe. Full auction. It's still in an uptrend. People are scalping out right here. Right to where the bottom dropped out. The scalpers are going to come in. It's blow by blow. You can see structurally here. You can see everything that's going on. Anyways. That's my view of the market. That's what I'm thinking. Don't do what I do.